We're getting aerial video of the destruction left by Hurricane Michael. This is what Mexico Beach, Florida looks like today. By all accounts, there's widespread destruction and devastation. The town took a direct hit when the hurricane made landfall yesterday. There's also significant damage to other parts of the Florida Panhandle. But so far, Mexico Beach appears to have been hit the hardest. Michael made landfall as a powerful Category 4 hurricane with maximum sustained winds 155 miles an hour. It is the third most powerful hurricane to hit the continental U.S. since records have been kept. Roofs were ripped off buildings throughout the area, and trees were splintered like matchsticks. At least 2 people have died, and rescue operations continue. Federal officials say that it could take months or even years for some of the hardest hit areas to recover. Today, President Trump offered his thoughts to those affected areas.
Our prayers are with those who lost their lives and with their families, and our hearts are with the thousands who have sustained property damage, in many cases entirely wiped out.
Nikole Killion is in Panama City, Florida. Nikole, I see that huge tree behind you. What have you been seeing this morning?
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is a scene that's probably playing out all throughout Panama City Beach and the Panhandle for this matter. I mean, we've got obviously this huge tree down behind me, a power pole. Up here, there's still some tin or metal that's strewn over these wires here, a billboard that's blown out. And this is considered minor damage to some of the other damage that we've seen across the region, which, as you described, is like an atomic bomb.
What are people saying about the cleanup, Nikole? Are people getting out to start cleaning the area?
Well, here in this immediate area, they are, there was a curfew in place overnight that was lifted this morning. And once that curfew was lifted, we saw people starting to come out. And as you can see, I mean, the streets are pretty busy around us as folks are surveying the damage. We had a chance to kind of get into some of these neighborhoods behind me. You know, we met one guy who was, had his chainsaw and had a number of trees that came down in his yard. So he was cutting those back. And, the good news, at least in this particular area, is a lot of folks kind of seem to be relatively unscathed. I mean, yes, there are fallen tree limbs and power lines that are down, but at the same token, most of the structures, at least again in this immediate neighborhood, seem to have held up.
Nikole, I just can't escape the image of 24 hours ago of you and your crew just working to keep the gear out of your face and flying around yesterday. It was pretty scary to watch. What was it like for you in the past 24 hours and the crew there?
Yeah, well, this is by far certainly the strongest hurricane I've ever been through, and certainly once we found out it was packing 155 mile per hour winds, I mean, it's certainly a story that I think all of us who are down here are fortunate enough to live to tell about it. But look, it came in fast and swift because we were on television, we were doing our live shots, and then the next thing you know, there was all kind of debris flying everywhere, and then just this wind of water that blew through once that eye wall started coming in, and the storm made landfall. So certainly nothing I want to experience again in the near future, in the near term. But, as of now, obviously, they're just the 2 deaths, and certainly any loss of life is tragic. But, the fact that it was just 2 so far with such a massive storm is quite remarkable, I think.
Yeah, well, you handled it very well during live television. I do want to ask, Nikole, how long do officials think it'll take to recover from this devastation?
Well, it's going to take a long time, and I think some of the residents here are prepared for that. We had one guy say just a short time ago when Ivan came through, I think it took about 2 weeks to get the power back on, but obviously the storm was certainly much worse. So certainly folks are kind of prepared that this could take a while, but the governor has said that he plans to make at least getting the power back on a priority, and we know that there are some 19,000 personnel that have been staged in advance of all this, and now some of those crews are starting to roll in. We did see a couple of power trucks roll through here throughout the day, so it's going to take time, and people are kind of prepared for that.
Yes, Nikole, I'm grateful that you guys are okay. We want to thank you very much for joining us.